What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody's staying positive and staying productive. I want to speak to you guys about loneliness or loneliness syndrome. It's been a big topic recently in the last year after certain studies came up with, the restrictions and lockdowns with COVID. And it's big in my industry because I speak to a lot of other coaches that we mastermind together that are in the mindset field for business, for health, for relationships, for life, for various different niches. But in general, it's become a big topic. And it's something that I speak about a lot because I've spent a lot of time in isolation. And it's part of my protocol. It's part of my mentorship. It's something that I preach to people because I see so much value in it. It gave me so much abundance to be able to be okay, isolated, or not being too much contact with people constantly so that I could focus on my things. Now, let me just say this is completely unscripted. I didn't even think about having to do this. It just popped up and I thought it was important that I put my 2 cents into it for my people. So at least that the people in my coaching program can get more detailed information without questions coming back and forth, all right? So that's why this video is coming out like this. Let's just get some facts straight here when it comes to the loneliness syndrome. All right, human beings are pack, like pack animals. We come from, the genetic DNA coding of tribes. So we're supposed to interconnect. Okay. Now, whether you read any of the holy books or whether you look into the science of the evolution of human beings, there's the same premises there. How everybody is supposed to fit into a certain puzzle. Everybody's a piece of the puzzle. Everybody has a certain job, a certain skill set, a certain demand on themselves, and they also have the vulnerability where they need the other people or the other person to be able to complete what's supposed to be a successful existence or successful life. So that's a given. People are drawn to each other. Now, some people more than others. Some people consider themselves extroverts. Some people consider themselves introverts. Now, I think it's a big topic right now because of the changes that have gone on in the world. And from my assessment, I believe that people are more connected than they used to be, okay? Because of the advances of technology and social media, to be able to contact other people and see how they're doing. Now, the same reason for that is why I believe so many people feel more alone, because they see so much stuff going on that they didn't used to see. And they see so many people showing what they're doing in a positive manner or in a productive manner, and sometimes makes them feel like they're not doing enough or that they're not good enough. You have to remember that the people behind these platforms, like this one that you're watching me on, and your social media platforms on your phone, are very, very, very smart. They have developed, to the best of their ability, ways to capture your eyes and your mind to get you stuck there. Whether it's Netflix or TikTok or Facebook or YouTube or Instagram or anything like this. It's made for you to be stuck on that. And in the process of you being stuck on that, if you're not wise about the choices of what you're viewing and what you're listening to, and also being wise in your own personal life to really take an assessment honestly and say, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing right now, this is my plan, this is where I want to get to, then you're going to have this battle of loneliness syndrome and all the different details that come under it, where people feel undervalued or people feel like they aren't doing enough or unsuccessful or insecure and all this bullshit out there. I think as long as an adult can make an honest assessment of what effort they're putting into being their best version in life, and also make an honest assessment of what things they are participating in on a consistent basis to self-sabotage themselves or stop them from achieving the things that they really want, they won't be able to feel okay with other people or by themselves. So then the loneliness syndrome means nothing. That means you could have all the people in the world around you and all the attention, but you still won't feel good about yourself. So I think that's the first two steps that somebody needs to be able to go through, is to assess of what their purpose is, what's their goals, short term and long term. Because when you have short term and long term goals, it doesn't matter how extravagant they are or how simple they are. I think it's a must that people have these, because it gives you something to look forward to and it gives you something to work on. Then you don't feel like you're missing out. And the second part is to honestly assess what effort you're putting into creating the best version of your life. I believe everybody should love their life. I think everybody should believe that they are living the best life. You know, I truly believe that I'm living the best life. And I also believe that 5 years ago when I was living a completely different life, because I was doing everything that I possibly could within the means of my time and my capability and my resources to make sure that I was living the best life. And I knew all the ins and outs about my life. I knew the things that were a struggle, that were an obstacle. I knew the vices that I needed to clean up and improve on. And I also knew what I had around me and was grateful for it. So it didn't make me see somebody else's version of life and say, oh, I wish I had their life. Because I'm honest to myself, and I know as a human and as somebody who's worked hard on self-development and growth, that that other person also has problems behind closed doors, also has things that they're trying to improve on. So why would I want to get rid of my weak links or my skeletons in my closet to pick up theirs? Because theirs might be worse than mine. And that makes that very, very simple and takes your attention off of thinking that everything else or everybody else is doing something better than yourself, and you focus on what's the best that I can do for me. Now, when it comes to my mentorship program, because I'm trying to get people to level up to their best of their ability, I really preach. It's one of the three main things in there. So that's why it's called the Trinity Transformation Program, because it's three basic core skills that have gotten people for thousands of years to be the best of what they could be. Whether it was tribes, whether it was armies, whether it was militaries, whether it was prophets, whether it was leaders, and all the way up to entrepreneurs now. They all had a fitness regime or went through some sort of a trial or tribulation in the stories. If you read the holy books about the Prophet Muhammad or Jesus, or if you read about Moses, all of them took long journeys. Okay, all of them took long journeys to be able to reach Mecca, or to be able to leave Egypt, or to be able to reach the Holy Land for them in the Bible, which was Jerusalem and Nazareth then. So there's a reason why they walked from one country to another to reach Mecca, or to do the 40 days in the desert, like they say with Jesus, or for Moses to be able to get across to another land on almost another continent, okay, from North Africa to get over to the west of the global south, or what was then considered Asia in the Ottoman Empire. So there's a reason why the fitness is important, because you want to be able to have an enduring body to be able to take on life and be the best of your ability and have good health. And that's number one staple, is the fitness, however somebody seems fit. The second one is the discipline of food, because from the beginning of time, people didn't have TikTok, they didn't have Netflix, they didn't have delivery to their house, they didn't have porno to watch, and their only luxury was food. And that's why you read about every religion having fasting periods within the year. And you also read about the armies and the militaries and the training of the tribes all the way back thousands and thousands of years before the Ottomans and the Romans and the Greeks and the Persians. We're talking about from the Aztecs and the Mayans. They would go, fasting or hungry for days on end to be able to teach them discipline. And the third thing is what I call like the flow state, which is different for everybody, but it's meditation, it's prayer, it's spending time alone in the morning or the evening, even for a few minutes, just to be able to get yourself away from the world's distractions and influences and stay true to yourself. And remember what your goal is, what your plan is, what's your core ethics and morals in this world, because those things can get construed and get messed with very easily. and fall into bad traps and bad habits because you think you're fitting in or doing what you're supposed to do, even though it's not true to yourself. So isolation is a very, very big part of leveling up, because if you're trying to build a business, if you're trying to really work on building a prosperous future, if you're really trying to work on changing your health because you've suffered for years or decades because of bad choices, if you're really trying to improve your body composition and lose weight because you've had bad stress, impulsive reactions, and you've had bad habits with food and with time management and procrastination, you're going to find yourself on a different routine. You're going to find yourself on a routine that a lot of the people around you are not on. They're okay with where they're at. They're okay with wasting all their free time. They're okay with eating whatever. They're okay with not working on improving their income. They're okay with not being smart with where they put their money, and they spend it all instead of putting it in places where it's going to bring them back a return on their investment. So that's going to make you feel lonely. This is not even part of the loneliness syndrome. This is just part of the level up. This is just part of the level up. You're going to find a lot of the time that you're going to feel alone, but that's the worth in it. That's the worth in it, because you've got to do things that other people don't to be able to get things that most people won't. And that's the reward. That's why it makes it worthy. Okay. Having a few nice homes is worthy because a lot of people can't afford a home right now. Having a lot of nice cars is worthy because a lot of people can't afford one good car. Having a nice physique year round, year after year, is respectable and admirable for most people, because most people, 70% adults, are walking around overweight. If everybody had these things, then they wouldn't be worthy. Having a successful business as an entrepreneur, or as a partner with other people, or even a successful career working for somebody, wouldn't be worthy if everybody had that. Okay, that's the balance. You just have to pick and choose your risk and reward, and what's hard for you, and what's worth the hard for you. Because being broke is hard, and being wealthy is hard. Being alone is hard, and being with someone or always with other people and being your best version is hard. Being fit and healthy takes time and effort, and being unhealthy and unfit takes time, and it's daunting, and it's costly also. So you just have to pick in there which one's the best for you and what you're willing to do and accept as the result of that. But you're definitely going to feel lonely in your level up at certain times, and you have to be okay with that. I've made the most amount of progress being able to laser focus on the things that I want to do and be able to accomplish those things to supersede people around me that were trying to do the same thing, especially when they had a lot more resources and a lot more help and a lot more money behind them and a bigger network than I had. So I had to do extra, but it served me well, and it keeps me able to stay in tune. So for people out there that think, or just because it's a choice of theirs where they don't like to spend a lot of time with other people and they feel like it's negative, I don't want them to feel like it's negative. If you want to, you can reach out to people through the same outlet that's making you feel lonely. You can get on social media, you can use platforms and get with like-minded people that have the same hobbies as you, or the same mindset, or the same interests, or you can join groups of other people that are in the hustle or in the level up with the same goals as you, and feel connected to other people without having to see them all the time. But for the most part, the loneliness syndrome, I think that's what is making people feel lonely. It's just that you see more stuff, and you see that you can have more options. Like you can travel to more places. So it makes you feel like, how am I ever going to see all these places or afford to get there? And it makes you see all sorts of products, and you're going to say to yourself, well, how is it possible to be able to purchase all these things? Will I even be happy if I have all that crap? But it still conflicts with your head. So you just got to be clear about your life and use these platforms and use the experience of having so much information and so many options at you to your advantage. So instead of you being a consumer, you're a producer. So use it to be able to do something good with your time for yourself. And then I think you won't feel lonely. Okay. Time alone, for me, is I mean, it was exponentially the best thing that ever happened to me. I've spoken before about my experiences in the past with prison, but when I was fighting serious cases, I got housed in the back of a correctional facility with people that had the highest cases of violence and risk. And in there, my cellmate at that time, was one of the suspects and people caught up with the Office Max heist, where you can Google that. It was in 99 or yeah, 99, 2000. A bunch of guys went to the headquarters of Office Max outside of Philadelphia. They tied up all the staff, shot them one by one to try to get the main safe open. They were on the run. They were on America's Most Wanted. By the luck of the draw, he was my cellmate. We had a problem with each other. He wanted me to do something I didn't want to do. I didn't want to go to the hole. So I had to bang it out with this dude. And I ended up in a bad situation with him and some of the people that he was affiliated with. And I had to do something pretty bad to be able to defend myself. And I ended up fighting an in-house case in the prison for well over 100 days in isolation and segregation housing unit, the hole, as they would say. And I went stir crazy for the first bit, and I was just suffering from not being able, because it depends on what facility you're in prisons and penitentiaries. Some doors have bars, and half of the doors all steel. Some of them are completely closed with just a small window and like security glass with the mesh inside of it that's unbreakable, and a slot so that you can get your food or anything to be given to you inside there. And I was in one of those with no bars. It's just pure isolation, 6x9, 4 walls, not seeing other people, not hearing other people, no contact for a long time. And after a little bit of time, I used it to my advantage, and it was the best thing for me. Because when you strip away the distractions of life and you take away all the things that are in your face and in your ear and in your eyes and in your thoughts all the time, you can really get down to the basics and the core of what you are and what you want and what's important in life. And it was the best thing that ever happened to me, because that was the beginning of the process of me building the non-negotiables to be able to get to where I am now and not stay on that route, which would have ended up life in prison, or I would have been buried in the grave with the rest of my friends and people that I associated with then. So I think, and that's my thought process, that's my truth. I think it's very important for people to be able to be okay with themselves if they want to live a prosperous life. Because when your back's against the wall and push comes to shove, sometimes you're going to have to be alone. Relationships go bad. Loved ones pass away. Opportunities get screwed because of other people's mistakes or because of the economy. You're going to be put in situations where you're going to have to spend a lot of the time alone to keep yourself up or to get yourself back on your feet. And if you're not okay with being alone, as you see, people run to the scripts, they run to the sleeping pills, they run to the anxiety pills, they run to the depression pills, they run to the psych drugs. And that's the best case scenario. A lot of other people are just taking it right to the bottle. They're taking it right to illegal drugs, pushing themselves all the way to suicide, because they build this fear and this ghost story of what's going to go wrong and what's wrong with them. And this can be prevented by choosing to spend time alone, choosing to have goals, and choosing to be able to stay aware of yourself, spend some time alone, even if it's a couple minutes a day, just journaling or writing or reading. I do it foam rolling and stretching. It's simple. I go to the gym floor in the house. I get my foam roller in the dark. I put some nice classical music on, and I breathe and I stretch and I foam roll, and I just remember the good things that I have, the good things that I want to work for. I think about the hard times that I've been through so that I don't repeat those mistakes. I think about the people that are valuable to me. I think about who's counting on me, and that helps me clear my day of any triggers that came from other people or came from social media or came from the news or distractions that are coming to me saying to me, you know, chase this or try to get this or try to come this way that are going to take me off my path and ruin my career or ruin my relationship or ruin my health. So if you're not okay with being by yourself and being okay with your own voice in your mind, you need to work on that. So that's the best that I can say about this without having done too much, let's say, reading up on what's politically correct to say and not say, because my only job in this is to be able to get people to be their best versions and to help them out, and that's all that matters. So I don't give a fuck if I say something wrong that triggers some people, or it's something that people don't want to hear. My truths that I'm able to speak about on here are from hard experience convictions. And the proof is in the pudding, as they say. So, I feel trustworthy in myself to be able to explain it in the way that I see best for most people out there. And just remember too, if you're not feeling in a good place or you're thinking some not so good things, reach out to somebody. If anybody's in a bad place, you can always reach out to me. I've always got an ear to lend to you and try to keep you in a better place or to help elevate you. And there's so many places out there that you can speak to people anonymously. There's tons of websites and phone numbers in every single country. If you feel alone and you're not in a good spot, make sure that you just make that call, okay? Always remember, never choose a permanent solution for a temporary problem, okay? If money's tight right now, there's solutions. If your heart's sore because you lost somebody or something went wrong, there's better times ahead. If you're not good with your health or your appearance or your self-esteem, it's just a couple of steps you got to take. So, like I said, there's no permanent solutions worthy for a short-term problem that you can solve. I hope this can bring you guys some value. If you ever have any questions or need any help, my information's in the bio out there. Stay good to yourself, stay true to yourself. Let nothing and nobody get in the way of the life that you want to live. Make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Show some support. Take care.